What's up, guys? My name is Ben, and today I'm going to take you through how I restored this Power Macintosh G3 blue and white computer from 1999. This video starts out strong with me already messing up the first piece of hardware. So what I'm working on right now is the infamous Apple hockey puck mouse that they came out with in the late 90s. A lot of people hated it, but I actually kind of like the way it looks, and there's something charming about it in a way that looks like, something, I don't know, only Apple could do. What I screwed up here was you can see me kind of scratching at the inner roller bars. There was some kind of I don't know, it looked like it was just dust or dirt or grime caked on there. But it turns out those inner roller bars are actually covered in a kind of rubber coating. And the rubber coating meets up with the ball of the mouse and provides actual traction to the ball of the mouse. So after I destroyed that rubber coating, the mouse kind of doesn't really work anymore. So that's a sad thing. Don't do that. Don't do that to your computer or to your hockey puck mouse. I have no idea how I can fix it or if it's even fixable at this point. I've started going ahead and clearing off some of the grime here. I'm taking the handles off. I'm going to take this top blue piece off and start getting into the meat and potatoes of getting this computer cleaned up and restored and looking beautiful again. So while this computer is at kind of a bad angle for you all, I'll go ahead and just tell you the backstory and how I found this computer and why I found this computer. And so how I found this computer was on Facebook Marketplace. I just was cruising around. I've had this Blueberry Studio monitor sitting around on my shelf forever, and I was like, man, I really, really, really need to complete the set. And so I went onto Facebook Marketplace and found a guy who had, I don't know, he had like a whole storage unit full of these. There was like 18 or 20 or something like that in there. So I drove up to Atlanta and picked up a couple of them. I wasn't sure if the computers were going to actually work or how well they were going to work, so I actually grabbed a couple of them. The prices on them were fairly reasonable. Overall, I spent like $200, and I don't know, I hope the guy sold the rest of them because he was really desperate to get rid of them. He wanted me to take all of them, and I said, bro, I live in an apartment. There's nowhere for me to put these. These computers look like they came from some kind of like school lab, like media lab or something, and that's what the stickers seem to indicate. And so they were just chocked full of dust. I mean, it was pretty nasty. Outside of that, the plastics in general look like they were in good shape, if only they could be cleaned up. In all honesty, this video is definitely not the best video that could have been made doing this. My GoPro batteries ran out multiple times during it, and frankly, I was just kind of in the zone and kept going with the restoration process. So at some point, you'll just see it kind of jump. I don't know, hopefully in the future, my other restoration videos are a little bit better. I also did pick up from this same guy a graphite G4 tower that definitely needs some TLC. So expect that at some point in the future when I have another 10, 12 hours to dedicate or throw at cleaning another computer up. So although the plastics were in pretty good shape, they were just dusty and dirty, both on the outside and then on the inside. There was stickers and sticker residue on the outside that I really had to work at in some of these cases. But once I had the sticker residue off, I just ran the plastics under the sink with some dish soap and cleaned them out that way. I guess I could have used even more rubbing alcohol and stuff on it, but sometimes just cleaning things with water is a little bit more efficient. It's hard to find and source eucalyptus oil I don't know what the YouTube channel is, Piswervy, I guess is how I say it in my head, uses. I found a bottle of eucalyptus essential oil and I'm using that. Hope I don't regret it. So here I've gotten into taking the logic board out. And I was lucky. It seems like all of these machines that they have are revision 2 machines. So the logic board doesn't have the weird IDE bug that some of the other logic boards do, or the revision 1 logic boards do. I've tangoed with those before, and it's not fun. Really, any drive that's over whatever the capacity that the machine ships with, it's just problematic. You can never get it to format right or boot right or whatever. And it's not really clear why until you go and hit the Mac forums and you find out that this machine, as cool as it was and as hyped as it was, maybe wasn't as well baked as it should have been for the first 3 of the 6 months that it was on the market. And that's something that kind of surprises me. These machines were only on the market with those blue plastics and everything for about 6 months. They pretty quickly replaced them with the graphite plastics. I don't know if it had to do with them looking too childish or cheery, or the market just kind of rebuking the colored plastics. 65 Scribe, in one of his videos on YouTube, was talking about how the market kind of rejected the color enclosures of some of these computers, and so towards the early 2000s, they started to kind of mellow the color tones out. I guess graphite was one of their hottest selling colors, both on the iBook and the iMac, and I'm assuming on the Tower. Although on the Tower you could eventually only get graphite. I rather thought that was a shame too, because these blue plastics, like this blue color, is just an excellent selection. It's very eye-catching. There's almost nothing offensive about it. Like, a lot of people criticize the iPhone colors that come out that we have today. It's like, like who's selecting these colors? And I feel like it's very like snobbish, pretentious design people inside of Apple who are trying to be avant-garde and set industry fashion trends like you might see coming out of like a fashion magazine like Vogue or something like that. They almost view it as if it's a piece of jewelry or clothing or whatever. But like these tones, they look so good on this hardware. All right, now I'm getting towards the back of the case, and you can see I attempted to take the blue piece off of the cutout from the door that folds down, but it just wasn't having it, and I wasn't going to try and force it just because, these plastics worry me a little bit. And that back panel plastic, it's kind of impossible. So you can pry the tabs off and loosen it up, but there's no way to actually get it beyond the security pull tab. I'm about to take the CD caddy out. The whole thing just slides out the front, which is actually pretty convenient. It's less worse than I thought it would be by far. And at this point, before I can go any further with the back plastics, I feel like I have to take the PSU out, and threading it out is a little bit of a hassle. That's something that's so dirty that I just took it outside and blew it out with some compressed air. I didn't actually bother opening the thing up, but I think I hit it pretty good. So this machine is supposed to have 3 of the drive sleds, but there's only 2 of them left in there. Whoever took the hard drive out just took the other sled with it, unfortunately. Not too much of a problem for what I'm planning to do with this computer. You'll see that I'm going to eventually add a compact flash card into there for storage. So we just skipped ahead a little bit here. This is another night. This is sometime later in the week, and I had already pieced the computer a lot of the way back together, even so far as putting the logic board in. But I discovered that some screws that get screwed into this plastic panel here, where the door latch is, the plastics had just shattered, I think from old age. And so I used luckily I found the pieces and I was able to take some super glue and glue them back together and let it cure. And now we're, another day later, and I'm going through and doing a little bit more detailing on the panel. Found some spots that I missed. And we're going to pop that thing back on and re-screw in all of these screws here. Now, the important thing with those 4 screws on the outer side of the panel is you want them to be tight so they aren't falling off, but you don't want to over-tighten them. If you over-tighten them, you'll find that you're starting to crack the clear plastic, and that's a horrible thing, especially if the plastics have made it to this point at this, 24 years later without any kind of cracking in them. Just be careful. Don't do that. So we got a little bit more of a general assembly, and now it looks like I'm about to install this compact flash card. So what I ended up doing was finding an adapter, PCIe to compact flash adapter that essentially goes into one of the PCI slots. It's not an actual PCI card. It just kind of fits there. And it allows you to put the compact flash card in from the outside of the computer without even having to open it. I thought it was kind of a nice, clean solution. Give me easy access, and I wouldn't have to worry about trying to attach something to the drive sled. All right, everyone, here we are. It is all pieced back together. It's cleaned up, and I've just powered it on for the first time, except nothing is happening. This was kind of a horrible moment where I was like, oh, geez, did I ruin the computer? Did I not plug something in? Did I, I'm pretty brazen about not using, any kind of electrostatic discharge, shielding or wristbands or anything like that. And so, I thought maybe I nuked something inside of the computer. I'm trying to reset the PRAM. I'm desperate. But one thing I read, and this is something that I didn't know before, is that there's something weird about these machines. And I read it on I think Mac Rumors. But sometimes these machines, after you take them apart and put them back together, you just have to let them sit for a little while, plugged in, turned off, but plugged in, and they'll just kind of start working again. So while I was letting it sit here, I decided to go through and clean up the studio display a little bit better. It looks like whoever had this monitor before, spilled coffee over the base of the stand, and there were some coffee stains in there. So, while I'm waiting for all this stuff to happen, I might as well disassemble the stand and try and clean some of those coffee stains up. I was actually a little bit disappointed when I got this monitor because this monitor originally came with 2 options. You could either have this height adjustable stand, or you could have this little kickstand that would come out, and it would make the monitor a little bit more like a picture frame. And I kind of wanted and always, adored the little picture frame kickstand, but it was not an option. I got this monitor from the Goodwill, and no clue if it even worked or not. I had to find and source a power adapter for this monitor on eBay. These are a weird kind of a power adapter with this, and especially with this monitor. The barrel plug comes out of the cord of the monitor instead of the barrel plug going into the monitor. So you can't just plug any little 45-watt adapter up to this monitor. You kind of need the original thing. Frankly, I'm lucky to have found this monitor even at all. They were kind of rare in 1999. They cost $10.99. Adjusted for inflation in the year 2023, that would be about $2,025. So you had to be balling back in 99 to be able to afford this monitor. And I don't think a lot of them were produced. Most people were buying these blueberry and graphite CRT monitors, which frankly, even though they looked cool, they're just absolute boats, man. There's no way I would ever put one of those in my collection just for space reasons. What am I going to do with that thing? All right, so at this point, I have all the coffee stains cleaned out, and I'm just reassembling the base of the monitor. It was a little tricky. It wasn't fitting quite right, so I loosened some of the screws up, put them in a different order, and that seemed to help it fit a little bit better. Just cleaning off the monitor itself now, which is funny. I've had this monitor at this point for, I don't know, probably almost a year, and I haven't done anything with it. I haven't cleaned it off. I haven't even cleaned the fingerprints off of the monitor itself. So there we go. Our little trick of just leaving the computer sit and be plugged in for, I don't know, however long that took me, a couple hours. It's just starting and booting up. I didn't do anything else. So at this point, I was able to get the machine to boot off of a macOS 8.6 server disk. So this has like Apple file share server software on it and stuff like that. I'm pretty sure I got the disk from my high school. I borrowed it from the tech office, and I never gave it back. So sorry, Chris Hamity, and sorry, Jeff Sankovich, but it came in handy later, and I found a use for it. So now I'm just formatting the drive. I'm using Apple Software Restore, and while that's going, I'm trying to work on a little bit more of the sticker residue. I tried to get that thing off with rubbing alcohol, but it was leaving this like oily, gunky residue around, and kind of hit me like, okay, what's one of the ways to get oil-based paint off of you? Well, a lot of times it's using some other kind of oil. So I used eucalyptus oil on the machine and was able to just kind of polish it off. Here, what I'm trying to do, I'm trying to set this monitor resolution. It's started up and it's running, but it's running at like 640 by 480, which is just crap. Especially since the monitor can do 1024 by 768. So I was desperately trying to kind of figure out how to get this machine to display that resolution. I thought it was a graphics card. This thing came with it's something called an XClaim VR Pro graphics card. I thought it just sucked. Like, it didn't know how to handle the display or something like that. But it turns out that if you change the drop-down menu to show all resolutions and choose 1024 by 768 at 60 hertz, the monitor will flick over and work just fine without any out of range signal issues. All right, so that about wraps it up for me. I hope you enjoyed watching me restore this nice PowerMac G3 blue and white revision 2 computer with a matching studio display. If you like what you saw, please subscribe to my channel. There'll be more Mac videos coming out, with some eFoil videos scattered in between. Thanks. I hope to see you in the next one.